going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Scene Podcast. My name is Craig Smith. I'm back with my guy, Texas recruited, Mr. Chris Wash. Today we have world-renowned Mr. Wed. He's everywhere. He's always in the gym near you. Mr. Todd Shelton, what's going
Craig Money, the second best lefty in America. Good evening.
on? Good evening to you, sir. Man, what has been going on, man?
Man, it's one of my favorite times of the year. Summer basketball. You got the TABC, showcase coming up. I think this is the second year. First year was funny. Texas didn't have it. A couple Texas teams went out to Section 7. It was just last weekend, along with the Dallas Showtime Classic. So one of my favorite times of the year, summer basketball. You can be at the gym pretty much every weekend in the great state of Texas.
I just wanted to say to all the single moms watching that tune in that Mr. Todd Shelton is single.
Oh my God.
And I just wanted to let y'all know because I know there's a large demographic. I checked the demographics of the show.
Jesus Christ, have mercy.
Hey Todd, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got into basketball to begin with?
So the funny thing about it, and I'll probably share some stuff on the show that I really haven't shared publicly. I've been around basketball my whole life. I was fortunate to my mom's brother has coached 30 years in the NFL. Well, his brother-in-law was Sidney Moncrief, whose numbers retired by the Bucks, probably one of the best players to ever come through Razorback. But I was born in Little Rock, so grew up in this house, hooping, was always around basketball, played in high school, was lucky enough to get a junior college scholarship to a school, Central Christian College, which is now NAIA in Kansas. And, that's really why I'm big on helping the kids that's unknown. Because in New Orleans, if you weren't a Division I basketball player, it really wasn't much for you. You got LSU, but you only had one JUCO at the time, Delgado. Went JUCO in Kansas, came back, was in the process of walking on at TCU, tore my Achilles, finished up at Texas Wesleyan. And from there, it's another reason why I'm big on returning emails. I emailed St. John's at the time, and a guy named Alex Evans, who didn't know me from Adam, emailed me back. And so I was able to be a GA with St. John's and Mike Jarvis in 2001. Unfortunately, I was there when 9/11 happened. I was only there for about 2 weeks. Came back, taught in Crowley ISD, and kind of that started the journey of, really, high school AAU basketball. My brother Terry played 2 years at UTSA, then 2 years of football at North Texas, and then my brother Trent played, 4 years at Baylor, and then 3 years in the NFL. So I've always been around sports. And it's funny, my actual sport probably to watch is football, actually, which a lot of people don't know. So that's kind of how it started, and how I ended up getting the coaching. Man, I came home from Central, and I was a pre-med major, and we had our first biology lab, and we had to cut on a rat, and I kept having to leave to kind of get my stomach right. And the next day, my counselor called me, and he's like, "Todd, you've been an orthopedic surgeon. Not gonna happen." I'm like, "Why not? Why not? Man, you can't even do it with a dead rat." So I came home, and I was trying to figure out my major, and I was talking to my middle brother, and trying to figure it out. And so, man, I don't know what I'm going to major in. And he was like, "Hey, do you have something called coaching?" I was like, "Heck, if I know." And went to school. A couple weeks later, I was like, "Y'all got a major coaching?" It's like, "Not really. We kinesiology / education." And my brother was like, "Two things: you always boss us around, being the oldest, and I always put them through drills." So you've been coaching your whole life, and that kind of started the process of me getting into teaching / coaching.
And you have been in basketball on a lot of levels. I believe you started. What did you start coaching in middle school?
Yeah, so how it actually started, when I thought about this when we were getting on the show, I don't want to tell you any lies, Craig, so you can hold it against me in the gym.
And I'm gonna Google you. You're a big time guy.
So I actually coached my first team when I was a senior in high school. I was 17. I coached a rec league team. I was talking to my dad. He just reminded me of that. But yeah, my first official paid direct deposit job was at Crowley Middle School from '01 to '03 under Tommy Brackle. I was in New York. I thought I was going to stay there. And my mom, rest in peace. My mom died about a year ago. Coach Brackle called me and said, "Man, I got this middle school job. Were you student taught at?" I was like, "Middle school, nah, bro. We ain't doing that." And so my mom called me, and she was able to convince me, or better yet, tell me, you need to come home and take this job. So I went Crowley Middle School for 2 years, Crowley High School for 2 years. Under Eric McDade hired me, who was at South Lake and then Waco Midway. But Robert Hale is actually who was the coach when I got there. Was there, worked with the Cavaliers 05, 06, was blessed to have a plug with Lance Blanks. My first year was LeBron's fourth year. Made the playoffs, first time it happened in 10 years. Came back, did high school for a while, and I got my first high school head job at Gatesville. And was fortunate enough to Kyle Cooper took a chance on me, won there, came to Haltom, flipped Haltom into North Texas under Tony Benford. I signed some really good kids there. I don't really talk about it a lot, but I signed Ryan Woolridge, who might go down as one of the best point guards ever there, Keith Frazier, and DJ Draper, who's probably one of the best walk-ons there. And unfortunately, we got fired after 2 years, and I was out of a job for a year, man. And I joke around a lot, but I'm really big on my faith. I've been out of a job for over about a year and some change. And I was about to go to corporate America. I don't know if I was going to be a grocery store manager or whatever, because I worked at Tom Thumb. And, I just said, God, I was like, man, you told me that coaching was, my passion. That's what I was put on life to do, to coach and help kids. And I was like, man, I can't believe, I see all these dudes getting jobs. And my man Patrick Nee got the job at Garden City in late August or maybe early August. And I sent him a text. I was like, "Hey, man, congrats. If you need anything, let me know." He's like, "Hey, I need an assistant coach." So, and I'm not saying this number to try to, make myself better, but I want people to know the grind that you have to go through sometimes. And I said, "I'll do it." And he's like, "Todd, man, I can't afford to pay you. The job that I have is $12,000 a year. So you make $1,000 a month."
Wow.
So I went from making, the Hoop Junkie. Go back and give a shout out to Kevin Bradley. Mr. Hoop Junkie, ODY's finest. They got me excited. So, I took the job at Garden City. So I went from making close to six figures at Haltom to $1,000 a month, living on an on-campus apartment at Garden City, and Garden City to Panola to Ranger, and craziness happened at Ranger. They fired everybody before the semester. And that kind of got me in this passion of just really helping kids and kind of, doing my own thing. So the grind's been real, and I always try to be upbeat, positive. So a lot of people don't know that. But I just say that to, tell young coaches to follow your dreams. Because, I never thought I could live off $1,000 a month, but it happened. That's before taxes, too. So after taxes, it was like $675,
God damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, people don't understand the struggle of JUCO, because it's like 2015. I got offered an assistant spot at Kilgore. It was $12,000, a dorm room, and a meal plan.
Yep.
And I had a wife and two kids, so that wasn't.
Yeah, so I think Patrick Nee, he just got the job in North Oklahoma. So if you got some players, he's looking, and then Aaron Smith. So Aaron Smith got the job at Panola. And he was my dad's pastor. Actually, it's funny how things come around and how you treat people when you don't have anything. They remember that. And my dad coached Aaron as a senior in high school on a team called the Stop Six All Stars. And so Aaron hired me, and at Panola, I quote unquote, got hot. Which is funny because I'm probably the same dude I was in high school, same personality, try to be silly, upbeat. But I got named to this top 100 or something like that, JUCO coaches in the country, and I didn't even read the article. Aaron sent it to me, and I scrolled through it, and I was like, "Oh man, that's great." He was like, "Bro, you didn't read it, did you?" I was like, "Nah, you're right." He was like, "You're on there." And it's funny, at the end of that year, we had a really good year at Panola. At one point, we were ranked top 10 in the country, and And so, yeah, it kind of changed. I had a lot of job offers from, well, not a lot, but 3 or 4 from schools on the East Coast, Division Ones, just because they want to get into Texas. I never met dudes, all because of an article. And so they kind of, you know, it kind of like gave me some credibility, which I'll talk about that later in the show, man, just about discernment and college coaching. Because, I mean, I could go on and about that, but that's kind of the journey, you know. So all over.
Todd, I want people to know you personally, man, because you have got to be one of the most positive, humble people I've ever met in my entire life. And
let me piggyback on that too when you're done.
And the thing about you, man, is I see you. You're like a social butterfly. You talk to everybody. I ain't never seen you mad. I've never seen you have a bad conversation with anybody. I don't know what you're talking about, but I know it's a good conversation because you're always talking to somebody. Talk to us about, and I know that probably goes back to your parents and I mean the faith and all that stuff. Talk about that, man.
Yeah, so I always tell people, like, if you want to get to know me, like, take my dad out to lunch. My dad, one of the most positive men, in America, right? He sings and cheers at games. When I interviewed at Halton, Scott Halfley told me, he's like, man, Todd, you're one of the best interviews I ever had. And I always joke is because, back in the days before iPads and cell phones, we used to travel back and forth between Arkansas and Little Rock. It's an 8-hour trip. My dad would make up songs, and we would have to pick it up and rhyme. And if you didn't, he would clown you. And so it taught you to be quick on your feet. And, a little bit about me. Like, I've tried to share this story a little bit more because, I have a brother named Trent Shelton, who's one of the biggest social media guys in the world. So I try to share my story a little bit more, because I used to be kind of scared to show up, but maybe it helps other people. Like, my dad grew up at the bottom, right? I mean, 8 brothers and sisters, 2-bedroom house, but he grinded and he worked for UPS for like 45 years. So I've grown up in Little Rock and New Orleans, probably 2 really places to grow up. And I just want to treat everybody nice because you never know somebody's story. You never know what somebody's going through. And Terry Thomas always tells me, he's like, man, Todd, your happiness is a lot of people's drunk because you're right. I try to be energetic every day because you never know what somebody's going through. I'm a natural giver, but I did grow up in Little Rock. So I always tell people, man, don't let the niceness fool you because, a lot of times people take niceness for weakness. And I don't really care about that. We just never know what somebody's going through. And I like getting to know people's stories because just a smile, telling somebody a simple hello can, save somebody's life, and so I just try to treat everybody. Like I said, I'm the same dude I was probably at 15, I tell people if I died today, I've legitimately done everything I wanted basketball wise. Like I joke, I had McDonald's All-Americans before McDonald's Willie Warren, like that was like a nephew or a son to me. He was All-American back in the day before, all the social media hype was going around and people sticking their chest out and taking credit for a kid. And I talked about this with Chris the other day is like everybody can get credit for a kid because the only person that really truly produced that kid is the mom and dad that popped out of their, whatever, private parts for the PG listeners out there. And so that's how I roll.
Yeah, Todd, I was going to say, like, I've enjoyed getting to know you a lot. Obviously, it's awesome that your brother's Trent Shelton. I didn't know that till a few months ago, and I've been rocking with Trent for probably like 10 years. So, and just off what Craig says, man, like you're very funny. You're always very nice. Even when I barely knew you, you would always kind of go out of the way to say hello to me. She's just at the Conference USA tournament, 3-4 months ago. You yelled Chris. I didn't know who was yelling my name. I turned around, it was you. But as I was driving home that night, I was just literally thinking to myself, I'm like, damn, man, I see Todd everywhere. Todd is everywhere. And that's why I started joking and calling you Mr. Worldwide because, every time I get on my Facebook or Twitter, you're somewhere else other than that.
Yeah, so my brother jokes and calls me TMZ. And it's funny, even though Trent's a motivational speaker, he's really introverted, right? Mm-hmm. And me and my dad are more extroverted. And so, like I used to really didn't post a lot on Facebook or Twitter about, kind of what I was doing. And Trent was like, man, share your story. So the reason why I do that is just the memories. Like, I look back, my grandmother loved taking pictures, right? So most time I'm in the picture with somebody, whether it's you or Craig or my dad or his brother or, like a kid, because I just want that love and those memories. It's not about myself. That's why I don't really take a lot of selfies, or like the picture's always usually going to be with somebody, because I just think it's important. And I love it. Like the other day, a picture popped up of me and my dad and well, Big E's dad and my dad at the Showtime Classic last year. I didn't even think about that, but Facebook will remind you. So I've tried to post more. At first I was a little bit hesitant because everybody has their own opinion. But I'm like, man, after my mom died, I'm just living life, trying to be happy, trying to spread love and joy and kindness. So it bothers me because we live in a very shady business of college athletics and college basketball. We can touch on that later in the show, but I don't have an agenda. I truly don't. Like, I did 5-star Dallas in 2012, which had Emmanuel Mudiay, which had Keith Frazier, which has T. Ferg, which had Trae Young. And I don't have to go around beating my chest because, like, that can be taken from you in a minute. Because I joke, I was like, we're Chick-fil-A, right? And the only reason we get to serve these kids is because, like, they're bringing their sandwiches to us. And, that's what it's about. So guys that think it's about them and, this is about me, like, no, you don't have 3,000 kids, my man. Like, you might have 1 or 2 or 0 like me. So I'm blessed to be around the kids, and I never take that for granted.
Yeah, man. I rolled up to work the other day, and at 7 o'clock, you posted a photo at SMU's practice.
Oh yeah. So
today you posted a photo at TCU's practice.
Yeah, well, so I live down the street from TCU.
Yeah.
And I went to school there, tore my Achilles in the Rickle. Man, and being nice to people, when I didn't have insurance, their team doctor did my second and third surgeries for free. I had surgery. I had insurance on the second one. I mean, on the second one I did. On the third one I did. So I love TCU. Went to school there. Pledged my fraternity there. A couple frat brothers got married in their chapel. One of my best friends' dad is a professor. But also I love SMU as well because one of my mentors who did a lot for Showtime, his name is Jim Meyer. And I said this, man, and I'll just be real, like kind of with the climate of the world right now. Jim Meyer was probably the first white man that I met with money that helped black kids and didn't want anything in return. So I always want SMU to be happy because that's the school. He went to undergrad there, a law degree there. And so I'm always going to try to show the ponies some love. And then on staff, they have Justin Crow, who's my dude, who's a big Cowboy fan, for all the Cowboy fans out there. And then Andre Owen, who's a DFW guy, went to school at UTSA. So I went up there to meet, Rob Lanier, because one thing we do as people, like we'll tell a kid not to go to school, but we've never been to that school. So I'll give you a case in point. Last year, for people that saw it, I did like this tour of DC. So I had a little job, a consulting job with the NBA team. I'm not going to say the NBA team's name because, they make you sign non-disclosure. But I had a little consulting job with them. And so I'll go around watching practices. So I went out to DC, and I watched Maryland and UMBC and a couple others, was Howard. But I went to American. And there was a little kid there from Texas called Eli Stevens who went to China Springs, who was in my district in Gatesville. And they wanted me to talk to him. Yeah. They wanted me to talk to his dad about going JUCO. And I didn't feel comfortable because I didn't know the dad. And so I went out to American, and American is in one of the richest counties in the country. And I would have felt bad if I would have talked that kid out of a school that I'd never seen before because it's unbelievable. So now, with part of the job and part of me always trying to give like right information, I've been to a lot of schools, so I can tell that kid, man, that personality. Like Dalen Dickerson went on a visit to UMBC. And the reason why I was able to tell him to go on that visit is because I went there. Practice facility is unbelievable. Arena is unbelievable. Campus is unbelievable. And so I really try to give firsthand information from my experience. People like, experience is the best teacher. No, bro, sometimes somebody else's experiences is the best teacher. You don't have to go through what I went through. So I try to do this at the highest level possible and just try to get back to the kids in the community.
Go ahead,
Todd,
Chris.
touch on your consulting firm that you started. I think it had something to do with your mom, right? Or she inspired it in some way?
Yeah. So what happened with the consultant piece? It's funny, and I hope he doesn't mind me telling this story. But when COVID hit, I didn't know Dwayne Broussard at TCU. But he was my fraternity brother. We're in the same fraternity. And Coach Benford, who, for people that don't know, who hired me at North Texas, and now he's the associate head coach at TCU. Played against Jamie Dixon in the old Southwest Conference. I'm actually, hey, can I run and grab a charger real quick? Is that cool?
Go.
Give me like 2 seconds. It's bad for business, but you know what? I would hate for this phone to die.
You're good. Hey man, it's your world. We're just living in it.
No, but I know Craig.
We're here for you, Todd.
I know Craig, the editing guru, can edit this some kind of way.
No, this ain't edited.
Man. This
Oh,
ain't
well,
edited.
you know what? People, I'm sorry. Give me like 2 seconds, and we're going to make this happen. Hold on a second.
Bunch of sad women right now,
Uh,
I'm about to go get I'm going to go get a drink real quick, too. Give me a second.
All right, here we go. Hi, I'm back. We all the way live. We still cool.
yeah, we're good.
So I love Coach Benford, right? He's one of 4 people I talk to every day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, hey, you should meet Dwayne Broussard. And so for people that don't know, 2021 was a rough year for me. Ended a relationship. Mom died. So relationship ends in February. Mom dies in March. Grandmother in April. Dad's best friend, July. Bunzel's sister, July. My mom in August.
Yep.
Crazy time period. So
Yeah.
I go sit down with Coach Broussard for us to talk. And so we're sitting there talking. And he said, Todd, you know what you are? He said, you're a connector of people. And I had never heard that before, right? I had never heard. I was like, man, what is that? He was like, man, people call you for advice. You give them advice. You don't think anything of it. He said, you're a connector of people. So we're literally sitting there. And my ex-girlfriend calls me. And she's like, hey, TCU's going to have to quarantine because a player's dad has COVID. And the reason why I know, because basically my stepson at the time, his friend played on the AAU team. So I tell Broussard, like, hey, Brew, y'all gonna have to quarantine. He was like, what? I was like, yeah, man, one of your players' dad has COVID. Literally 3 seconds later, Jamie Dixon calls. Hey, we got to quarantine. And Broussard says, see, there you go. So that started elite level consulting on paper, but I never did anything with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm talking to my brother Trent. I took a job that didn't work out. And he was like, man, Todd, instead of helping everybody else, man, like, why don't you help yourself a little bit? And so the elite level consultant piece started. Randomly, I'm sitting there, my phone rings from AC Law the Fourth. Backstory, I gave his dad and Stoop Johnson some advice in 2005 about the NBA draft, really 2006 NBA draft. AC calls, that's how I get plugged with Overtime Elite. So my first real consulting deal with Overtime Elite, only God. So
yeah, I remember when you announced that.
Yeah, so but the overtime, the elite level consulting have been sitting on paper for over a year and a half. When I'm in on paper, like website was already done, business cards, LLC, just about launching it. So that's kind of how I got started. And I'm really looking to like bring other people along. And in July, well, really August, I'm gonna launch two more events. What is it called? Ventures. Yeah, Ventures. Ventures is like the life. With folks. So exciting time, But so that's how elite level consultant got started. So shout out to Dwayne Broussard, Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporated, the oldest and coldest Black Greek letter organization. December 4th, 1906. If you need to ask somebody.
Hey, bro, did I disappear for a minute?
Yeah, you went to red. Your network went to red.
My girlfriend thought it would be great to FaceTime me 5 times in a row when I said, like, don't call me
Jesus
from 8 to
Christ.
9. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
leave him
man.
alone.
Hey, listen, happy wife, happy life, Chris. I
Well,
know that.
she ain't the wife. She's still the recruit.
Okay, hey. You know, that's, okay. I hope she's not listening. I hope she's not listening.
Oh my
She'll
God.
she'll definitely watch this, and she might find that funny. She might not. I'm not sure. But yeah. So we just learned that she's not very good at following directions. Anyways,
Man. Hey man, talk about your. So you were a scout with Cleveland, right?
Kinda. I was the bottom man on the totem pole. So this is how this works. I work a lot of 5-star. It used to be legitimately the biggest camp in America before like Nike and Adidas took over.
yeah.
I got that from St. John's. We had a guy named Derman Player, and I always tell this, I'm a huge Cameron, Jim Jones, Jules Santana, Dipset. And so my friend Derman Player,
J.R. Ryder.
yes. Oh yeah, and yeah, there we go. Yeah, J.R. Ryder.
Yeah.
So, who never came out with an album though.
Man, his
It's on the
mixtapes are
mixtape.
good though. Yeah.
So I wanted to work 5-star because, you know, I tell young coaches, have a plan. Have a 1-year, a 5-year, a 10-year. Okay, how do I execute? So I knew I wanted to do some stuff on the East Coast. So I write 5-star letter because Lawrence Francis wrote them a letter, and now he's the coach of the Nets, and I'm going to do that. They're not responding. So me, like, now I'm like, okay, I'm going to find a way. So I called Derman Player. He calls Tony Bergeron. I said, Coach Bergeron, I will work every session for free because I was a teacher, so I was still getting paid. So I go up there, work 5-star. Me and Lee Klein, who was the owner, and at the time he was the vice president. His dad and Howard Garfinkel owned it. And I go out there and I busted my butt, and they loved it. Next year they called me back. The year after they called me back. So I'll never forget. It was a Tuesday night. We're playing at Burke Burnett, and my phone rings. And it's Lee Klein, and I thought it was weird because we didn't really start talking about March, April about camp. So I called him at halftime. I'm like, what's up? He said, man, call me back. I have a opportunity of a lifetime for you. So I get home. It's later on the East Coast. They're an hour ahead. So I'll call him the next day. He said, the Cavaliers are looking for help. It's like, what? He's like, yeah, Dan Gilbert bought the team late. They hired Danny Ferry late. Danny Ferry hired Lance Blanks late, and everybody has jobs. He was like, so you have an opportunity of a lifetime. So I'm like, man, how much is it paying? Again, man, Todd, it's labeled an internship. It's really a full-time job, but they label you that so they can, you know, pay you whatever. But you're going to have full-time responsibility. So he's like, again, the magic number, $1,000 a month.
Oh, my God.
No insurance. But I'm like, it's LeBron and the Cavs. So what I do is I take the job, I take out my teacher retirement, and I go to Cleveland. And so I'm the lowest man. And then there's a guy named Mike Winger. The guy, you know, so it's because the people don't understand at the time, NBA front office was very small. We had 2 administrative assistants, a general manager, 2 assistant general managers, and me and Mike Winger. That was it in our front office that were there. Our scouts were you know, regional when they would fly in or whatever. And it was me and Mike Winger. And then 15 years later, Mike Winger, the GM of the Cavs. I mean, of the Clippers.
Wow.
So, and he got me my tickets when my dad went to Vegas for his 70th birthday. And so, I mean, I would do anything from getting coffee from Danny Ferry to go scouting games to create documents. And, you know, Danny always gives me a hard, he jokes with me because in the 2006 draft, we drafted Shannon Brown with like the 20-something pick and Daniel Gibson early second round. They asked me who would I draft, and I said Paul Millsap. And they laughed at me. And Paul Millsap, up until this year, was still playing. I think he played this year. And so, you know, and I got to be around Bob Ferry. Rest in peace, Bob Ferry died last October. Was like a mentor to me, but like literally the dude drafted Mitch Kupchak. He was the first GM of the Washington Bullets, which are now the Wizards. So yeah, I did everything for the Cavs. I mean, it was only about 6 of us in that office. And, yeah, I was blessed to have that position. So, but I tell people I did, I'm getting coffee. I tell people I don't sugarcoat it. Like some days Danny was like, yeah, I want a hot Marquis Carbonato from Starbucks. I'm like, what? Grande? What is that? So,
yeah, I don't think it's a Makamoto either.
caramel macchiato. That's what it is. Caramel mocha macchiato, I think.
Oh gosh, a
But
Makamoto.
but from that situation, like, and I haven't really talked about this live. I end up being really good friends with Gloria James, LeBron's mom, because I was really good friends with her boyfriend at the time. All because I was nice to somebody at 5-star.
Was that DeMonte West?
No, that was not. That was not Delonte West. No, he was before Delonte.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Bro, that was a good joke, man. That was a good joke.
It's all right.
So 05, 06, I was with the Cavs, and I loved it. We lost Detroit in the second round of the playoffs. But I got to see Rich Paul before Rich Paul was Rich Paul. Mike Macias, who was LeBron's trainer. I was friends with him. And the funny thing about it, man, like I didn't even realize like the greatness I was in it because I just treat everybody the same, But I knew like Rich. It's funny because I liked to party back then, and I knew Rich was going to be special because that dude threw like great parties. Like he was a club promoter at a party. Like he was always shaking and moving. And I always tell the story. Our equipment guy Cobra, LeBron, Maverick Carter, Randy Mims, and Rich Paul called themselves the Four Horsemen. So our equipment guy Cobra, at the end of the year, LeBron had all these shoes. And he was like, "You want a pair?" I was like, "Nah, But they had the chest piece on there, and I was like, "Now I look back, I was like, dang, I should have got a pair." But oh well.
That's crazy.
So yeah, that was 05, 06.
So what started Texas Prep Report?
I've always done it.
Okay.
So what happened was I helped start I'm not gonna say help start Showtime. Showtime was Big E's idea, but he had one meeting and I was there for the second meeting, and we rolled since. And so in 05 we had it started as Dallas Hoops. Went to Dallas. Well, Dallas Hoops, Dallas Pump and Run. Dallas Pump and Run, and then Big E took it over, and I would always be in the gym. Like we would play. And I would sit there before scouting service. You could even get paid, and I would just write. Correct? Like I learned that from the Cavaliers. Like did y'all watch The Last Dance?
Oh yeah.
All right. So there's a guy on there, Brendan Malone, who is Mike Malone's son, the head coach of the Nuggets. So when I was with Cleveland, he didn't type. So he would fax me his scouting reports for real. This like 13 pages. At the time, I was like, dang, man, I got this old man don't type. I had to like basically transpose it. But what happened was I started being Brendan Malone. And he would call me, "Todd, watch this game. What do you think about so-and-so, so-and-so?" Me and him had that dialogue. And so I got in the habit of writing notes. And so when I came back to Texas and I was with Showtime, I would just be in the gym. And I remember guys like Sean Glover from Cedar Hill, Thomas Gibson from Cedar Hill, Marshall Henderson. I had notes on notes and notes, and I would email them and send them out before I had any name. And once scouting service, you were able to pay for them through the colleges. Like you had to come up with the name, and I was like, I love Texas Prep Report. But it started through Brendan Malone, like making me. I mean, like, and the dude's handwriting was so neat. But I'm telling you, it was pages on pages on pages. And he told me about so many stories. Like when he was talking about the Jordan rules, right? When The Last Dance came out, a lot of people thought the Jordan rules would just beat Michael Jordan up. Right? Like but he told me like, hey, force to his weak hand, force some baseline, no middle. Like I knew that in 05, 06. And so when I'm sitting there watching it, I said, that's Brendan. Like, hey, I knew that back in 05. And it's just funny. He's a New Yorker. And so from him, I learned the art of being really, really detailed because he wanted his notes typed exactly like he sent it to me. So he has a part of the Texas Prep Report. And then I don't know if you've ever seen an all-seasons report, but the background, the logo was started by my man Jimmy Granados, but the template was actually started by Stacey Houston. He was super detailed guy. To try to give him the props because I don't care about nothing. Like all I care is about a sheet of paper. He's like, oh, make it visual. People like visual. They like colors. I was like, man, damn a color. Just read this information. But people like visual stuff, and so it's been going strong ever since.
Stacey Houston, hell of a guy.
So yeah.
Jesus Christ. Talk to us a little bit about your relationship with Big E, man.
So my mom said this, and I'll say this on film, and I didn't really realize it till later on. She says I'm her most sensitive son. And what she means is that I took a strength finder test, and it's 5 strengths, and mine were achiever, relator, woo, positivity, and belief. And that woo and relator, makes me feel like if I'm around somebody that have negative energy, like I feel it. I don't know how to explain it. And so Big E was my best friend. Stayed at this house when I was going through stuff. And he knew me better than probably anybody in my life. And, he started Dallas Showtime when I was right there. Kimball High School, we started our first practice. Snoop would open a gym. Nick Smith, who's at Kimball now, was there. Big Mo, who's still there. Tony Yayo, the disciplinarian who's at Eastfield, was one of the original members of Showtime. And man, Big E is a brother to me. Like we had the same sleep pattern. I could call him at 2, 3 in the morning. Like I joke with this. Don't call Big E before 11 o'clock. Really before noon. Because he was up to 2, 3 in the morning. His dad would hold me accountable. His dad would curse me out, but tell me I love him. He treated me just like a son. And so I'd never been angry at God until Big E died August 23rd, Kobe Bryant's birthday. I'll never forget the day. And it was tough for me because I watched my mom get rolled out in a black body bag, and I watched E. And, I'm not saying I wouldn't be in basketball without him, but he's the one who convinced me to take the North Texas job. Again, I turned down some jobs. I turned down a job at UTA back in the day under Eddie McCarter, Matt Doherty's Dobo. And I turned down some jobs. Me and E went to the Hooters off of Cooper or 157. Yeah, that was our spot. Monday Night Hooters.
There you go. That's how you get things done right there.
All you can eat wings. Big E, y'all know they didn't call him Big E because he was small. It wasn't like Big Sean. All right. So we go to this Hooters, and he was like, "Hey man, you should take this job." So I'm like, "How much is it paying?" He's like, $45K. I was like, "Man, hell with that." I said, "I'm almost making double that at Halton." I was like, "Nah, bro, we ain't doing that." So he knows how me. He's like, "All right, whatever." So he calls about a week. You think about it. So yeah, he's just unbelievable dude. Everybody loved him. Always a smile on his face. I put on Twitter the other day, I was like, pull up, because that's, you'll hear Big E say that when a kid's on a fast break. And the last time I saw him alive was August 9th in Vegas for the End of the Summer Pangos deal. And the funny thing about it, Craig and Chris, I wasn't supposed to go. I was supposed to go to New York for the Dipset versus Lock versus. But I didn't go.
Oh my God!
Yeah, I'm Dipset all day. And they got murdered. Like Styles P, Jada, Sheik Luch.
I watched it.
Yeah, they killed him.
Yeah.
So me and Mike Boynton always joke.
I used to love Sheik Luch, man.
So Mike Boynton, Oklahoma State, always gives me a hard time because he saw it. He was like, "Your boys got killed," because Mike is from I think Brooklyn, So, but Big E's super special guy. Last week was, very emotional. First time Dallas Showtime Classic without him. And, man, just a great dude. I'm surprised I didn't start crying. That's the sensitive part because, I always tell you I'll shed a tear and fight you at the same time. So, but great dude, man. Just always put the kids first. Was real. And, DFW basketball has lost a lot of legends in the last 2.5, 3 years between Jazzy Hartwell, Lawrence Jones, Big Low from the lower ninth ward, Low What's happening, baby, and Big E. You know, so and Cynthia Guillory
and
Vaughn's
yeah,
sister.
on the girls' side, yeah, big time. She was actually the first person that ever hit me up and asked me to do something for her when I started doing my camera stuff.
Yeah, I like Sin. You know, and the funny thing about it is that going to her funeral, and you know, like I tell people, and my boy gave me a verse. A scripture should have used it, but I always try to say the reason why I believe in God and Jesus, kind of like believing in Santa Claus, right? I don't know, I don't really know if it's real, but you know what? If I don't believe in Santa, I ain't gonna get no gifts. And so, you know, hey, or you might get some gifts, but whatever, might not. And so when Cynthia Guillory died, you know, I went to, it's the truth, right? It's the truth. So that, you know, so I went to her funeral and heard
Jesus.
this.
Where hold on, where do you get all these things from?
Oh, my analogies?
Yes, bro.
From my dad. I'm telling you, listen, if you're not
Oh
doing,
my
listen,
God.
if you're not doing anything one day, you should come hang out in the Shelton house. So listen, dog, my dad was a rapper before he's a rapper. He's 70 years old, still on roller skates, right? Like,
God.
we
You gotta be
listen, Craig,
careful.
we have a family quiz, right? And the quiz today was, he might be getting mad at me for saying this, but I don't care. He's not gonna watch it. What do the Ku Klux Klan and somebody that lives in a poor area, what do they have in common? A hood. Bada bing bing. That's George Shelton. Every morning he comes. I call him the Riddler. What's the favorite day to get married on? Wednesday, because Wednesday. So yeah, that's him. You know,
This explains a lot.
It does. You know, like, you know, what's the favorite day to, like, I don't know, get chicken on, or where do you get church? Sunday. This is him. So I've heard all these corny dad jokes and analogies, I don't know, since I was like 5 or 6. So that dude is with me every day. And he's a funny dude. Like, you know, everybody knows him. I don't know if you know who Poe Bill is, but it's the Poe Bill Classic in Duncanville. It's a big pro-am. Like, Poe Bill lets nobody touch his mic except George Shelton. So the analogy is just, my mind is always.
And your dad is a huge North Crowley fan.
Huge. Yeah. Well, first he started off with Crowley. So Terry Shelton won a state championship in '99. But I'm going to tell you how crazy my dad is. So in '98, '99, North Crowley opens up. Mm-hmm. Trent Shelton's at North Crowley as a freshman. Terry Shelton's at Crowley as a senior on the varsity. My dad would cheer and sing these because he has these cheers like, I know they can play.
I've seen him at the Cowtown Classic, like 2017, 18.
Yeah. And so
I saw him do that.
But he had these jumpsuits, right? Like breaking, you know, like the old school break dance and vinyl.
Oh my God.
He had a purple one we had a blue one for North Crowley. When the freshman game was over, he would go to the locker room, change, put on a purple, go to the other side of the bleachers, and start singing for Crowley, and not miss a beat. Don't get you know, because you might get the schools mixed up. Don't have, doesn't miss. That's where I get it from.
That's awesome.
Crazy dude in a good way.
Could you ever see yourself coaching again?
Yes, I have 3 spots. 3 spots.
Like you would prefer to go to, or places that are looking for you?
One is guaranteed. I just need the right opening. Talk to this person every day.
Todd, I heard a rumor that there was a D1 school trying to hire you as an assistant.
No. So let me address that, right? So it's funny. Hoop Dirt is like, everybody sees stuff on Hoop Dirt. So I was talking to this coach during the gas. So he's like, "Yeah, I heard you're going to Sam Houston State with Jason Hooten." I was like, "No."
Yep.
And then, sure enough, like a week later, so Hoop Dirt with Panola. Now Panola, I'm not gonna lie, Panola was somewhat true. I did talk to the athletic director, my boy Don Clinton, but I told him I had no interest in interviewing. Just because, like, right now it's important for me to be around my family and dad. He's one of my best friends, right? You know, I mean, not in general, but we've been really close since my mom died. But there's 3 jobs that I have in mind. One guarantee if the coach is still there, it's about time and financials. And then the other two, I'm chipping apart. I'm chipping at it. So I would love to get in coaching if the time is right. But to piggyback on what Chris said, jokingly, man, I sacrifice a lot from basketball. Like, I don't have any kids, no wife. I joke like I'm super single. That's my new phrase, because it's hard in coaching. It's hard to get somebody to understand the grind. And just women, men, or you can have a man or another professional women, but coaches have some of the highest divorce rate because you're in that gym. And some people want all the riches and rewards that go with, sometimes coaching a high major school, but a lot of problems come with that too. And so for the right situation, there's three schools that I would take. Yes, because I love coaching.
Are they in the Metroplex?
Yeah, one of them or two of them are. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for so that eliminates. Yeah. Yeah, they're in the Metroplex. They're put it like this. They're all Texas schools. I love Texas.
Yeah.
Are we talking college level or high school?
College. I like, and I'm not saying this to be like arrogant or cocky. I'm just truthful. Like I probably turned down probably about 3 or 4 high school jobs in the last 2 years. And the funny thing, Craig and Chris, and I'm not saying this to like be cocky or arrogant. I'm really trying to give God the credit that when I first got into coaching, I would have begged for these schools. I applied to some of them. And so for me able to turn them like, no, I don't want to interview. And then one of them with the interviews, 2 of them with the interviews is going to be formality, right? To be able to do that, it's only God. Because I never thought I'd be able to do that. Like I used to beg for some of these jobs. Like, man, if I could just get that job, it'd be a dream job. And so being able to turn it down is just, it's just funny to be able to look back and reflect and be like, dang. So all college right now. High school kids
Tell me
are
how
crazy.
fulfilling it is. Tell me how fulfilling it is for you when you help a kid get to school.
It's only fulfilling because the kid is fulfilled. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna say I don't care. And like, if you look at my my Twitter, most of the kids that I'm posting on there are D2, NAIA, right? The stars don't need help, man. They don't need it. Like,
nope.
I mean, is it nice to get a McDonald's All-American? Sure. But, like, I always joke because I'm close to this kid. Terry Morrison need help. He was going to pick a Power 5 school. But, like, Mitch Williams, who's going to Ranger, like, yeah, like, I get that makes me feel good for him because I'm going to help everybody. But, like, Terrio doesn't need, Terrio or Casey Walsh or Ant Black or I'm trying to think another good player that's going, D1. Jordan Walsh. Those guys don't really need recruiting help. They need consulting, right? Why this school? Why this coach? But like dudes like Todd Shelton, like I needed help. Like I had one dude that believed in me. Dude came in, evaluated my stuff, sent it out to schools. I had 1 or 2 offers, and so I'm happy because the kid is happy. Like I'm happy today when I got a thank you note from Ben Estes for helping him. Like that makes me feel good. And so because I've done it for so long, it's just the right thing to do. Like Jesus talks about helping the quote unquote lesser of these. And I'm not saying these kids are lesser of these, but in the terms of recruiting, they're the lesser, right? And so I just want to help all kids, and some of these kids that are, that sign and win places, I wrote about them when they were freshmen and sophomores, and I don't care who gets the credit for it. It takes a village. Like so many times you get he played for Pro Skills. No, he played for me at Showtime. No, he played for me at the Mustangs. Like we can all take credit. It takes a village.
Well, especially nowadays, all these kids switching teams. I mean, every AAU team could take credit for almost damn near every kid.
Yeah, and so like we get into like this can I say balls on here? Ball swinging contest.
Fuck.
It
Oh,
don't
I
matter.
mean, shit. You can say whatever you want, Todd.
Yeah. All right. So we
Yeah,
get into
man,
the
balls swinging.
yeah, just woo, like Friday, woo, woo. Just going one way, balls going another way, woo. And so, but we get in this like ego battle, and it's really about the kid.
Yeah.
Friday's one of my favorite movies.
And I saw something on Twitter the other day about a kid that's got over 25 offers, and somebody feels like he's not being talked about enough.
Oh, Dink?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dink is underrated, bro. I mean, he's just got 25 high major offers, but he's underrated.
Yeah,
yeah, because we get caught up on like what, like there's a kid who I don't know if the word mentor give. I don't know what the right word is because I hate when people say, "Oh, that's my kid." No, it's not. It did not pop out of any part of your private part. They didn't. I know.
you can say you can say cervix.
Cervix, all right. And so that's not your kid. And so when people say that, so I have a hard time. I don't like saying my kid. Kids I give advice to, and they were so caught up in maybe being like a McDonald's or Jordan game. I was like, listen, bro, you're in the 1%. You're going high major. The other stuff's just extra. It's like if you're starving, man, as long as you got that cheeseburger to eat, that's good. I mean, it's nice if you got some lettuce and ketchup and bacon. I like mine with bacon, but I want the burger. So I just think we need to, I always say this, that AAU basketball is like a soap opera for grown men because adults really ruin it, right? The adults do it. And so, I don't know, man. I just get happy with all the kids. And I'm even happier with the ones that don't have anything. Happy for all of them. Go to school. But the ones that don't have, so I was getting into this conversation. We can talk a little bit about race and politics because I grew up in Little Rock was the first school that was integrated.
I can't do that.
No, it's not about politics. It's about race. It's about I said, is somebody a racist or a narcissist? But sometimes we just identify who we know, right? So some people aren't racist. They just don't know because they haven't identified with people. And I just think if we would just identify with each other more, we'd have less problems in the world. But
Well, going back on helping kids from everywhere. I like what Adam Hood posted on Twitter the other day about your diploma doesn't have D1, D2, and all that other stuff on it.
Yeah, I have a quote, but I'm not going to use it because my man Terrell Williams, I don't know if he's copyrighted it yet. But in the day, you're right. Your diploma your employer just says, do you have a diploma? It doesn't say, hey, man, do you have a high major diploma? You scored 15 points a game?
Yeah.
No. And so kids don't get that, man. And I say this, especially sometimes minority kids, right? We don't get it. And you're behind the 8 ball. And so it's just trying to educate kids, man, because the way I look at it, I didn't think I was going to live to see 21. I grew up in New Orleans, Louisiana, the murder capital of the world, 94, 95, 95, 96. So to be 43 and 11 12ths, because I learned that today because my birthday's next month, so 11 out of 12. It's my math. I'm happy for that. They're 11 12s. I'm 11 out of 12 months. That's what it is. Because I was putting 3 quarters. And somebody's saying, you're not. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So I'm happy for all kids. All kids. I don't know. That's what I got.
I don't know what else I got, man.
This has been a great conversation. I'm ready to eat dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. What are you eating?
I guess whatever I'm about to go get.
Hey, I'll give a good plug. If we plug people, there's a place called Pineapple something in Hearst. Pineapple Shop in Hearst. Oh, it was unbelievable. And you know what I love when I walked in? You know my water that I always have, Craig, the Waikiki?
Mm-hmm.
They had it. And I learned the history of it today.
It's in Hearst? Where at in Hearst?
Not that far from Central Junior High, maybe 10 minutes.
What's it called?
Pineapple Hawaiian something. I'll get the last name from my brother. But if you
Okay.
Google pineapple, but it was off the chain. That's what I had today.
Yeah, let's get Trent to retweet the podcast, man.
Oh, I can try to do that. We'll see. I got to catch him in the right mood.
Tell him.
No, because like right now, because he has a 12-year-old son who's cold. Trent's all about like this athletic, like kids getting treated the right way.
I've been seeing his son on your story. That kid is getting played football.
That's my middle. That's if you saw it today, that's my middle brother's son. Who's
okay.
Let me tell you something.
That's the one in high school, right?
Yeah, let me tell you this.
Yeah,
because his balls are dropping finally, and his name is Terry Different.
Great.
He got a chance, dog. I told him that day. You have a chance, young fella. Especially that wide receiver. You know, he's about 6'4". I'm the shortest of the family. Hey, and so he's out there balling. Ranch View High School. Terry Jaden Shelton doing his thing. But Trent's son is cold too. Tristan, I'm the least athletic out of all of them. The only thing I do is I was able to shoot the basketball. That's about it.
Not like me.
I know we gonna eventually get this done, but I gotta make sure I get a couple practice because I cannot lose to you because I cannot have in your phone Todd can't shoot.
Well, I'm gonna be shots by Chris that day, and I'm gonna film that shit. So,
cool. Man,
appreciate you coming on here, man.
No, I appreciate you having me. You know, Chris, like it's been good to get to know you over the last couple of months. Shots by Craig. Go to the great outdoors.
I don't even know how I met you. I'll be honest with you. Honest with you.
You probably just walked outside your house.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably one of them things. You were probably making your rounds around the gym, and you just
I had seen you a lot, and you had the Shots by Craig. So I'm like, if you see somebody, why not speak? And you had the little Halloween Shots by Craig hat on. I think I said something.
Oh, the orange one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the rest is
That's
history.
my favorite one.
Yeah, and you know what? You do good work. So why not give somebody some flowers? You know, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna get off. Dante Mathis at Texas State. This is how I knew he was a humble guy. So I pride myself on being a reader of people's personalities. Like that's what I do. I just read. So we're at Game On, and he comes up to me. He said, "Man, I see you everywhere, man. Who are you?" And I was like, Todd, we speak blah. But it showed how humble he was because I could have been like, man, kiss my black, but didn't. I mean, you never know. You never know. That
conversation would have went totally the wrong way.
But some people are like that. Some people are arrogant like that. Yeah. And so, I probably applauded Dante's just humbleness to walk up to a dude he didn't know. So I'm pretty sure I saw Craig, Shots by Craig, with a Z, doing his thing. I was like, I want to meet this dude. Man. Oh, no, I know what it was. No, you were shooting and you were left-handed. That's how I started. And I said the best people in the world are left-handed. That's how I started. I remember now.
Dang. Was it at the field house?
No, but it might have been at Mansfield Field House, possibly.
Yeah. Yeah, it may have been.
So that's what I got.
Right, man.
Hey, great day. It's one of my favorite days. You know what day it is? Mike.
You gotta leave us with something.
Mike. Yeah, Mike.